great to be here and great to have DLD and Steffi, because it's, I think, really amazing bringing people together and promoting our ecosystem. So super to have Steffi and DLD. And today we have two great leaders here from two great digital giant companies. And we want to talk about, okay, how do you ride the wave of AI? And so I thought, okay, what does it mean for us here in Munich? And so I'm also serving as a vice president of TUM, the Technical University of Munich here. We have 50,000 students, so 50,000 students, 10,000 researchers, so it's like a mid-sized city. I was thinking, okay, what does it mean for us? Okay, when I ask you all these questions, so what does it mean for us? And I was really astonished again how big it became. So Ludwig was showing us this hockey stick, this wave which comes up, and actually, Philip, we are in the middle of this wave. So from these 50,000 students, we have 15 of the 50,000 are in computer science now. So computer science became the biggest school of our university. And it's the driver of the university, also in research. So TUM, if you look at TUM, so it's the best ranked EU university now. In AI, we are even among the top 10 worldwide. Then, so our business is entrepreneurship. If you look at the numbers of our deal flow in TUM Venture Labs, which is our deep tech incubator, so we have over 50 AI companies right now lining up in incubation. So it's the biggest group within our university, so meaning every week another one. And last but not least, also for our own center, so we have about 400 people in UnternehmerTUM, and one group is called Applied AI with Andreas Liebel heading this. And so 100 of our 400 people are only focused on AI. And so I think we are really in the middle of this, let's say, gold rush or this wave, and I'm now really looking forward to your perspective. And Anna, would you like to give like a little intro, a little overview of what you see, and then Thomas, is that okay?
Absolutely. So Helmut, you are so proud that it makes me so excited to be here with you, because actually Technology University of Munich houses the biggest amount of founders in AI today in Europe. So good job that you guys are doing there.
Thank you.
Well, so what's happening with AI now is similar to what happened with the internet when we introduced the web browser, right? It became known to everybody. Even if you didn't know how to use TCP/IP, you could surf the web, and then it created businesses out of this, right? So what we are living with, what we're seeing with AI right now, and what ChatGPT did was really make AI very accessible to the common domain. Why did it happen? The introduction of foundation models, large language models. It accelerated significantly the time that it takes for you to train the technology to do multiple tasks. So I think that we're really seeing the early stages, but the adoption rate and the acceleration is something that we have never experienced before in our industry, right, Thomas?
No, absolutely, can fully agree to that. And I think the interesting part is for sure, how do we apply it? What do we make with it? We talked earlier about the use cases of AI, and I think that's where also we are very interested in how it changes the future of work, how people work, with that how businesses run, and with that hopefully how we can also influence to solve the bigger problems. Because I agree actually with the statements also of the presentations before. AI is not just for the sake of technology. Let's solve big problems like circular economy with it and other big topics with that topic. And I think that's important that we also focus on these bigger aspects, what we now can achieve having this phenomenal disruptive technology in our hands. Actually.
What you can actually do with it and generate value out of it.
And so now we heard about this hockey stick, okay?
Yes.
And so for you and your business, what really changed in the last 9 months? Is it the same, or do you also feel this hockey stick?
No,
how is it?
we felt the hockey stick in multiple ways. First, we had to accelerate some of the product developments that we were working on. IBM has been working with AI since the 50s, then foundation model for the past 3 years. And then when the whole ChatGPT explosion happened, we realized that we needed to accelerate the deployment of our platforms, right? So in May, we launched Watson X, which is an AI platform for business. So it's really focused on corporate usage. So that's really what we are bringing to the market. And then internally, the applications that we were already using for AI, for example, how to make our HR processes more efficient, really accelerated, right? So we have an application in IBM called Ask HR that does a lot of internal HR tasks for you. And in the past 3 years or so, we've managed to save more than 12,000 of work by automating functions and by making the access to information much easier to the employees. So these are the types of applications that we are seeing happening.
Okay, and now this acceleration, is it on the technology side or also on the custom behavior side? So what would you say?
So on the customer side, it's an acceleration and adoption at levels that we've never seen before. So we were looking at a research from IDC recently. 67% of the companies in North America are already with some level of machine learning, deep learning implementation happening. Here in Europe, approximately 50%. So it's really something that is becoming more and more part of the way the companies operate. Do you agree, Thomas?
No, I agree. And to a point, what changed? I mean, we all worked since years on the AI, so it's nothing new. But the scale and the mass adoption and the new opportunities of rethinking business capabilities processes, this is new. So at SAP, we had already more than 130 AI cases for our customers, and we already have more than 24,000 customers using AI. So again, that's nothing new. But what is new is now the scale of the new opportunity based on generative AI in this regards and how we approach it. And to your point on the customer side, based on the awareness about what's the art of the possible, and we also talked about the concerns and risks about generative AI in this regards with these large models, the awareness about what do we do with data, how should we handle data in this regards, and how do we bring that in a trusted environment? Because in our business scenarios, we cannot afford hallucinations.
Right.
We cannot afford that we lose data or that we don't know how the data is used. I mean, we talk about proprietary, secret data, which is differentiating companies. And in the business context, that's the critical, because quite honestly, I sometimes joke a little bit about to create now an email or optimize a PowerPoint will not change the world. Let's be clear. But if we think about real business critical decisions, which are make or break for the companies, you want to know the explainability of AI. You want to trust AI. And this is a different league, and that's for sure something where we also, in the partnership we have, intensively work about how can we have reliable, trustworthy AI. Because again, if you take a business critical decision, there's not much room for failures in this regards. And that's what we take super serious. And that's also where collaborations here are absolutely critical, because also here, AI is amazingly going on a daily basis also with research. Explainability is a key aspect where we need more research in this regards to have that in place. And that's to the key point, like DLD is so perfect spot here to bring this diverse set of perspectives and people together to jointly move along. As I always say, we need to move away from ecosystems to ecosystems and leveraging partnerships, leveraging the strengths, and together solve these bigger problems on this planet.
Yeah.
And Thomas, so you're member of the board of the largest software company in Europe. Super to have you. You are leading product engineering. So what's a great application you see now, like from your team last 6 months, where you say, okay, really cool?
I think there's actually a couple of examples. One of the examples we talked earlier about digital assistants, companions, because that's what we will see. We will see that basically every employee of a company has the best buddy, a trusted best buddy at the side. You can ask any business-related question, which is not defined before, and you get an answer, a trusted answer to that, which helps you. One clear aspect. Another key thing, what we also should talk more about, opportunity of self-optimizing business processes. And we already have the first steps together, how a system not only can mine the processes, but also then benchmark, but adopt the processes in the configuration of the business application, and now do that in a continuous autonomous cycle, an autonomously optimizing application, which is amazing what's possible. And then what we also see for sure is throughout the course of what we developed, also together with our customers, like we talked here, and BMW is one sponsor of DLD, to really think how we can optimize actually every area of a business, even in warehouses, in factories. So generative AI is not just something in certain area, it will touch all of that. And to your point, also what changed in the company and being in an engineering function, the topic around enablement of the people. What do we need actually to scale that? And training and the topics, and that's certainly also the roles are changing also for us, for all of us. The roles will evolve with AI, and how to deal with that, how to take the employees with you on that journey with the right empathy. This is a key aspect where I believe also most of you here in the room will ask yourself, what is now the way how we do that? Because everybody will use AI, so everybody should know about AI, and especially what to do with it.
So at TUM, it actually feels more like a gold rush. So everybody loves the topic, everybody's jumping on this topic. So if you reflect that to your ecosystem with your teams within IBM and SAP, and also talking to the customers, so more on an emotional side of you, so how's the atmosphere?
The atmosphere is a mix, I have to say. I think the best quote is from our client in Spain, La Caixa, the CEO, Gonzalo Cortázar, who said, foundation models surprise us and scares us at the same time, right? So I think everybody now is starting to figure out what types of guardrails they have to put in place, to the points that Thomas made in terms of explainability, trustworthiness, make sure that it's not biased, that you can actually make it transparent to the user. So all these aspects are really coming to the discussion on the boards of companies to make sure that AI is implemented in a safe way. Our recommendation to our clients is do not outsource your AI strategy. Don't make your AI strategy just calling an API. Make your own AI. So our platform is for AI creators, not just AI users. Our ecosystem is extremely open in the sense that we don't believe we're going to own all large language models that are out there or all foundational models that are out there. We are opening our platform to open source foundation models that are coming from the open source community in partnerships with companies like Hugging Face. And then we have collaborations with companies like SAP, where SAP brings the knowledge of the business, knowledge of the process, the application development, and then we embed the platform in their solution. So I think there are multiple ways that companies can play in this market, and that's why I think it's such a fantastic opportunity.
Okay, and what you now described is like more the strategic approach, top-down, but how about bottom-up? So do you see, like in your team at IBM or when in the customer...
Let me give you one example. 2 weeks ago, we did what we called inside IBM the Watson X Challenge. So we gave people access to the platform so that they could, experiment with their own use cases. 180,000 people.
Wow.
Onboarded on the platform. We generated more than 20,000 applications out of that exercise. And what they came up with were like ideas that we couldn't even imagine, right, that we could do with the technology. So to Thomas' point, bringing people along, making sure they understand what's in need for them and how they're going to be better professionals, and that AI is not there to substitute them, but to improve the work that they do to the company. I think it's a key imperative for companies right now.
Cool. And I think what you mentioned is also interesting. You call it gold rush, but interestingly for companies, in the customer conversations we have, actually based on this opportunity for AI, there's a lot of pressure from investors, quite frankly. And that has multiple aspects. We talk a lot about productivity gains, we talk a lot about bottom line savings for AI. But what I miss a little bit in the conversation is more the top line opportunities we have with AI. And I think we should talk more about opportunities in this regard. I also believe, quite frankly, with all the amazing things what we can do, like you mentioned also code generation. Think about the productivity gains in engineering functions to be more quicker, to deliver more innovation. But that doesn't mean we replace developers, by no means. We just deliver more innovation to our customers. And for sure, we truly believe there needs to be a human in the loop in the end of the day to really make the high complex things and to round it up in this regard, so that we fundamentally believe it's a duet and not a duel between AI and humans. And I think that's also important that we shape this positive opportunity and make that work together, because sometimes I see also in some of the commentary about this negative, we want to, we want to whatever, fire 5,000 people or whatever based on AI. I even believe that's the worst thing what you can do, because you will need that people in the future anyway with the scale what you see and the skills. And that's something where I believe it's very important that we talk about the opportunity of AI and not just the
efficiencies and the cost savings, yes.
And so, Thomas, you also heard the talk of Eva Meidel, and now looking to the regulation topics and the setup there and about opportunities and risks. So, how does that feel for SAP?
I think for sure it's always a balance between regulation and innovation. I mean, that balance we always will have, let's be honest, and it's okay. But I think actually sometimes we look so much to the politics to solve problems. I fundamentally believe every business on its own has a responsibility about how to deal with it. And for SAP, we have basically an AI ethics council since 2018. Since last year, every single employee of SAP has signed an AI ethics policy. And so it's also on us to do it in the right way, in a trusted way. And then I feel what is also something what I heard beginning of the year, there was this idea, should we pause the development for 6 months? Oh my goodness, you cannot pause the future.
Yes.
The clock will run. And we talk about a global scale activity. So whatever we discuss in Europe, we are on a global planet, and this planet is running. And that's something where we actually need to intensify the work. But with the work we do together, we do set the right standards together, and that's what we can do. And that's the reason why I believe it's good that we have a good balance of conversation between regulatory and innovation aspects. But in the end of the day, everybody also needs his own standards or her own standards. And that's the reason why I feel we should all do our job to make it right.
So we have Ana here, and I just learned, so she's Brazilian actually. Yeah, and so she worked all around the globe, in China and so on. And now you're here in lovely Europe for 1 year. So if you look at this global picture and this global competition and collaboration, so how do you look at Europe?
So I fundamentally believe that Europe has a very special place in this moment of innovation, because I think it's probably the only place where we can combine innovation with the right safety protocols to make sure that this is done in a way that works for the society and humans. I think the challenge right now is how we create really the global collaboration. Because if for us companies, we have to abide to frameworks that operate differently in each one of the countries. You operate in 170 countries, SAP probably the same. It's going to be very hard for us to continue to drive innovation and having to address the multiple requests that will come from different constituencies. So I think harmonization of regulation is super important, that it's targeted and focused in the sense that you regulate the risks of the technology, but not the technology itself. And finally, that you really bring all the actors to the table, because we have to have a participation so that we can explain what are the implications of certain rules being applied to drive innovation, right? So I think the biggest challenge right now is how we create really this framework that is going to work on a global scale.
So, and if you're Brazilian, so how do you look at Europe playing this game? So do we do a good job, or where can we improve?
Listen, at least Europe started, right? I mean, I think
Good start.
Well, it's a good way to look at it, right? The AI Act, I think, came out in a better shape than it was originally envisioned Of course, the introduction of generative AI brought more complexities, and I think that we'll now have to address that component. Let's see if this can really become kind of the platform of how we are going to create the right frameworks for AI going forward, like GDPR was in many countries, right? So when Brazil adopted its privacy and data protection law, it was very much based on GDPR, right? So I think that it's now to see how this is going to work out.
But I think we're in a trusted community here in DLD. Let's be honest. I mean, in Europe and Germany, we need to rush. We need to have a sense of urgency. If you think about number of startups, number of patents, number of models developed, this is not done in Europe and Germany, unfortunately. 73% of all the models are coming from the US, 15% from China. Somewhere in between, we have Europe and India for the remaining couple of ones. And that's a call to action for us. I mean, we talk so passionately and emotionally about AI, which is so important because it is a disruptive moment, a generational shift in technology. But to your point, how do we do? And I loved the comment about that we started and progress is a good thing. But it should give all of us a call to action to act, to make us familiar with that topic and to engage, because there's no point in waiting. Because this train, and we saw the hockey stick, and that Ludwig called it the mother of all hockey sticks, which I like the impression. This train is moving so quickly that you are not capable to jump on that train in 5 years from now. No. In 5 years from now, AI will be the norm. It will be totally normally embedded in fundamentally everything what you use from a business software perspective, from a personal consumer perspective. It will be the norm in 5 years. And that's something which is unique that we will see that. And that's the reason, again, just a big call out to everybody. Everybody needs to make herself or him familiar with that.
And what's super is, so Thomas is not only a good speaker, but he's a real doer. And so a real doer. So it's not only, action. And so we have, for example, now SAP is building this fantastic SAP labs here in Munich, a huge facility. You're also the largest European player, so you're a global company. So can you give us maybe 1 or 2 examples how you really get it into action? Maybe one local example, because there are many Munich folks around, and then maybe also, for example, a transatlantic or a global example.
I mean, a local example, BMW, what we work on is also in the notion about how to optimize actually the delivery nodes for warehouse entries, actually, with all the trucks which are coming, and they have millions of parts every single day which are coming to the warehouses, which we optimize with AI fundamentally. So this is an amazing use case, what we do on that front. If you think about the optimization, for instance, in consumer products company, where we now use AI actually for circular economy to avoid packaging. And we serve the largest CPG company on this planet, and they produce on a yearly basis 1.3 million tons of plastic for packaging. This is crazy. And this is something what we can change, leveraging AI, leveraging our software to get that down. Coming back to my initial statement, I would love also to see us in the conversation shift the confirmation from this, let's say, easy examples, like, again, email creation, whatever, to talk about the big problems we want to solve together on this planet and make use of this amazing technology for that sake. And that's what we are actually excited to leverage it. And that's also where we say we want to do business AI. That's where we play together in this partnership, in the economy, to leverage all the best possible technology, but make it use in the application to solve real-world business problems with it.
Super. So we are at the end. Last question. So we are all optimists here as DLDs. So 5 years now, where will Europe stand, and what's like the one thing you think where Europe will be leading in AI and will be a showcase for the whole world? So maybe a short answer, Anne, and then Thomas.
I think Europe has the powerhouse in terms of innovation, research dollars. So great opportunity is about the ambition, how much you want to really lead this era of innovation. And in terms of use cases, I think the demographic shifts that this continent is facing will require levels of productivity that we've never seen before. So I would bet a lot on service efficiency.
Sounds good. And
I think in 5 years from now, AI will be totally the norm. And I believe Europe will lead with trustworthy AI, and I hope that this will be a differentiating angle for us as a society, then to also grow overall, because for sure also here we need more growth in Germany, more growth in Europe, and I hope that AI can also fuel overall more, to the first presentation today, more prosperity with this regard. So that's why I do believe that we have an edge with our values in Europe, that we should focus on trustworthy AI.
Super. Say, let's do it.